Thank you again for always uh, being so dedicated to your practice. Um, and this message again for my friends, students, uh, and also my friends who are taking a step forward with Jukaye in this summer. This is not directly linked or connected with the understanding of Jukai, but I wanted to share this as we continue to do this practice on Zoom as we face the screen, and there's over there an altar of Shakyamuni Buddhas and ancestors. In Japan, we have these terms called Hokumen, facing the north, Nammen, facing the south. Most typical ceremony we conduct as Hokumen, facing the north, is of course a dedication to Buddha's ancestors, sometimes their fellow monks, teachers. Then a typical Nammen ceremony, facing the south, is Obon, the Ulambana service, that we extend the merit of which extent the merit we extend to sentient beings, hungry ghosts. And I guess you can also see it in like Theravada Mahayana. We honor the footsteps of the ancestors, elders. Then we take care of the new generations, our students, members. Buddhas in the north, sentient beings in the south. I have noticed that often people do develop some preference. Some develop more preference facing the north, following the ancestors' path. And others sometimes develop their preference over facing the south, serving sentient beings. And I guess in this particular climate, cultural climate in North America, I do notice a lot of sanghas. Rocky Mountain Zen probably is the same. Keep their eyes on sentient beings. The organization that I work, Soto Zen office, and what that exemplifies, represent, puts a lot of value on facing the north. Buddhas, Dogen Zenji, Keizan Zenji, all the ancestral teachers. And that's the part, I guess, in some North American practitioners have a difficult time understanding. The only thing I would have to share, just my observation, is when you put your sole focus on sentient beings, and let's say you start to forget about what it means to face the north, but you keep facing the south. I mean, it seems like there's nothing wrong, right? And yet, even before you realize it, um, you start to expect, often like subconsciously, without even realizing it, that you become the north because you face the south. It's just as a phenomena, it happens. And that's a bit dangerous. When we face the South, and we truly face the South, you see the South, but you see the North in the South. Sorry, it's confusing. You see the Buddhas and sentient beings. When you truly see the North, face the North, then you realize that there's no separation. Buddhas and sentient beings. And that's where we stand. I think for Sanghas, when we start to see one generation pass on, and the next one comes in, then another one comes in, just as waves, then we can probably more tangibly feel the importance of facing the north and south. And eventually to realize that we are facing 10 directions of 3 times, past, present, and future. But unless you kind of have this understanding, you start to kind of fall into this pitfall, a trap of dwelling upon a thought of, is this equality? Is this democratic? Is this fair? Um, that's a good way to look at things, but that's at the same time it's the surface, and unless you understand what it means to face the north truly, then you can't really get the understanding of what it means to face the south. So that's just one thing I've been thinking about as we continue to do the practice over Zoom, facing each other, which is wonderful. But I just wanted you to keep that in mind. Yeah. And I hope that would just sink in, like as your own experience. But that takes years of, I suppose, aging. Yes, that's kind of how I says. Yeah. So a bit of a message that I wanted to share with my students and Sangha friends about facing importance of facing the south and facing the north. I hope that makes sense. Thank you.